What up, YouTube? Here again, GearRod. I'm here to talk about my Gishkis again. Um, the other video that I posted up didn't have as many, I think, good duels. I hadn't really recorded that many, and there's an older build, but this is my most current one. Uh, See here, dueling against some kind of Naturias. The idea with this deck is to pretty much just not let your opponent have a chance. Um, do the original wind up loop. It's not as doesn't take away all the cards, but it definitely gets rid of the key ones that you can find inside of the opponent's deck. Been working on this deck for a really long time, testing out different cards. They what I've found after using them for a real long time is that they have an issue with really heavy back row. Obviously, the deck is really sensitive, but if you can go off with your opponent unsuspecting, then pretty much by then it's already too late for trap cards and other cards like that. Here you can see me dueling against a relinquish deck. Right now, I think at this point he just thinks I'm using dragons. It's another awesome thing about the deck is that you can play one side of the deck and they kind of play with each other by themselves pretty well. If you get and grab all your Gishki stuff, then then you just play all your Gishkis. But if you just get and draw all your dragon stuff, then you play your dragons, and then your opponent's like, heretic player, this should be pretty easy, and then boom, you start taking cards away from them, and it's a completely different beast than what they originally thought of. So, at this point, I had completely forgotten that with the djinns that you can't special summon at all. So I'm over here looking at my hand like, I can't really special summon. I can't do anything. I gotta wait for a monster. And then, lo and behold, the Gishki Abyss comes out, gets rid of the relinquished, and I get to start taking away cards. The thing is, whenever someone effect veilers my Gustraken, it's kind of a good thing for me, because I don't really mind that they veiler it, because at the same time it's still just minusing one from the hand, and you don't really veiler the Constellar, which is the important one because it keeps the loop going. But yeah, that's not really the biggest deal. A tech in here that I started messing around with was this Swift Scarecrow, which later on you're going to be able to tell that it helps out a lot. At this point, he uses that relinquish again, but I already have Dark Hole, so it doesn't really matter as much. I get to keep going. Take away the Battle Fader, because obviously I want to keep doing battle. I have the set Monster Reborn to get another XYZ monster out in the field. At this point, I just don't want the opponent to have anything at all for him to use later on. And then Strike Bouncer to finish it off pretty much. After this point, the opponent's top decking, and creature swap isn't going to help him at this point. I have a good duel against heroes. Here I'm still teching that Swift Scarecrow. I'm literally just playing one, but in this duel it helps out a lot. At this point I already knew he drew Dark Hole, but I kind of want him to use it for later on, so I already know he's going to use it anyway, so I'm using Constellar to grab back the Tefnuit for later on. He uses the Dark Hole, and he thinks he has the OTK. Well, he does have the OTK. Yeah, he gets out 2 Blade Armor Ninjas. But I'm just looking at my Swift Scarecrow like, yeah, this is going to go longer than you originally anticipated. And at this point, I just make the Hieratic just because I want to get all the other dragons out of the deck. I don't want to draw another dragon because I'm looking at my 1 water monster and my 2 Moray of Greed and thinking, man, I really need another water monster. I think at this point I've only been playing dragons though, so I'm pretty sure the opponent was only seeing the dragons, and then I send a vision Gishki and it's like, whoa, then the whole entire deck explodes. Like salvage in hand. Mores of Greed. Then I just top deck the two Tefnuits and it's like, oh, it's done. I also know he's got the heroes in the grave, so take that away from him using the Mind August. I sent the vanilla from under the Constellar because if I have more vanillas in the grave, then I can keep going with the loop. And since I don't really need Gust Rockin' because Mystical Space Typhoon isn't going to really do much against this deck because, no one really plays back row anymore as much in the meta and stuff like that. At this point, the opponent, he's like, well, you're going to keep going just because of, two set cards. But I didn't know what they were. I didn't know they were useless, so I just had to keep going. Make sure that he wouldn't be able to come back from it. Here's a shout out to Dr. Novice. This is one of my friends from OSU Yu-Gi-Oh! And told him that I wanted to duel him, upload some videos. He had a pretty good starting hand, and me, I was like, I don't really have the best hand right now. Send the Vision Gishki, play the Moray, see if I can draw anything better, but obviously not. My other tech I have in this deck is Light and Darkness Dragon. Not the worst card in the world to have, but he had the OTK right here. Can attack 3 times, equaling over 9,000. So he actually has a pretty unique build that I've seen. It's pretty crazy. It does a nice little loop, but I never got to record the actual duel in which he pulled it off perfectly. So this is us dueling again. I think this is the second duel. I think I had sided accidentally, or not really accidentally. I had sided, and he hadn't. The compulsory evacuation devices. For this, compulses Gaiderg. Then he attacks my Abyss. And this is where I continue to go off, take away his Baby Rock, because that card in Dragunities is actually really, really, really freaking good. And at this point, I make a Mind August, because Mind August is a good card against Dragunities. Takes away the Phalanx and all the stuff that he can use in the grave. And then Strike Bouncer obviously makes it to where, you can't use effects. So, on the field, which is the big one. So, shout out to Jordan. Thanks for letting me record. It's fun dueling. He's my buddy. Get to test out a lot of decks against him. Bounce ideas off of each other. Again, shout out to OSU Yu-Gi-Oh! Our Yu-Gi-Oh! Group at OSU. We have dueling evils. I haven't seen these guys in a while. They actually used to be my main deck a few metas ago. But here we have Light and Darkness Dragon. Being a boss, it's not the worst. There he gets destroys everything else on the field, but I still get to summon something. So at this point, he's probably looking at his Heavy Storm and his Volcasaur, thinking, attack with all the little ones. I don't want to attack with Gust Rockin' at this point because of I don't know. I used to play Gores, so I wanted to kind of see what else he had. Emerald is pretty good in the deck as well because you get to send one from under him and special summon a vanilla from the graveyard. At this point, just kind of said fudge it. Didn't have much. And Hunters. I really do like Hunters. Hunters is pretty good, except he was playing the Chaos version of it, I guess. I haven't really seen much of that card used. I know they have they have some pretty gnarly effects if they can get it off right. At this point, I didn't know what he was playing. I just wanted to see what it was, and then I saw the Battery Man, and I'm thinking, I haven't seen a full Battery Man deck in a while. But then after this point, I realized, oh, hundreds. This guy just decides to go off. And he makes the Shockmaster calling spells, which is obviously a good idea against this deck. But I had my XYZ play, Beast for the Shadow, Overlay for the Utopia, which is a little bit bigger than Shockmaster. Wait a turn, see what happens. Goes as Thunder Seahorse, searches his soup, and no special summoning, so. But I guess he really wanted that Battery Man. At this point, I just want to kind of get cards in the grave for Pot of Avarice, so Tribute 2. Want to see what I would draw, and I draw Vanilla and an Aquamarine. Not the worst, but I really just didn't want to attack over that Star Leash. Drawing a card is bad. So he decides to make this guy, which I'm not even 100% sure of his effect, but I guess he negates effects on the field. Then I draw into my Diva. Take away his last hunter or monster. Make Dagachi. Still holding my Dark Hole. He draws into his Thunder King, and that's that. We have the windups, which I'm not 100% sure if this was a good first turn for windups. I haven't really seen their new combos. Definitely does get like his +2. Makes Satirus. And I just kind of decide to go through my deck here. Play all my Morays. Play the Heavy Storm. Start playing my Dragons. Use the Ptolemies to go grab a Vision. Monster Reborn, the Tefnuit. Get a card out of his hand, which was a Shark. Get rid of his Tiras and start. At this point, he just quit. Well, anyways, thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.